Hello all and welcome to the presentation of Art and Architecture. I am Rajesh Lalasar, lecturer on contract, Department of Archaeology, University of Kerala. Introduction to Indian art. The development of art in the Indian subcontinent has been divided into different stages. The primary being the prehistoric period, second one is the Harappan civilization, then the art of Maurya, Sunga period, and the post-Mauryan traditions, then the mural traditions of India, temple architecture and sculptures from medieval period, and last, Indian bronze sculptures. In the prehistoric periods, paintings and engravings forms a major part of artwork from the different sites across India. As you can see, a map of prehistoric sites across India from the north to south and east to west. First discovery of rock paintings was made in India in the year 1867-68 by an archaeologist named Archibald Carlyle, 12 years before the discovery of Altamira in Spain. As you know that Altamira and Las Cortes are the major rock art sites in the prehistoric world. Cockburn, Anderson, Mitra, Ghosh were the early archaeologists who discovered a large number of sites in the Indian subcontinent. Remnants of rock paintings have been found on the walls of the caves situated in several districts of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Bihar. Some paintings have been reported from the Kumaon Hills in Uttarakhand also. The main theme that has been usually made in these prehistoric paintings were depiction of human beings, animals, geometric patterns and various hunting scenes. Bhimbetka. The richest paintings are reported from the Vindhyan ranges of Madhya Pradesh, where Bhimbetka, which is located 40 kilometers from Bhopal, the capital city of Madhya Pradesh, in an area extending around 10 square kilometers, having about 800 rock shelters, 500 of which bear paintings. The caves of Bhimbetka were discovered in 1957-58 by eminent archaeologist V.S. Wakangar, and later on many more were discovered. The themes of the paintings found here are of great variety, ranging from ordinary events of daily life in those times to sacred and royal images. These include hunting, dancing, music, horse and elephant riders, animal fighting, honey collection, decoration of bodies and other household scenes. Below here is a photograph of Bhimbetka where it is the entrance there, cave entrance, Bhimbetka, Madhya Pradesh. These are the different paintings have been shown below. On the left, topmost left is hunting scene, dancing scenes, and the middle there is few images showing only one animal, that's horse. Actually, you can see the horse, and these paintings have been carved across the walls and ceilings of caves. And these paintings were done with in red ochre, mostly red ochre. Apart from these sites that has been said earlier, Kerala also produced many prehistoric paintings and engravings. Edakkal and Marayur are some of the examples, as you know that one. Edakkal in Wayanad and Marayur in Idukki. On the left side it is the Marayur rock paintings, and on the right side it is Edakkal rock engravings. And the next topic is Harappan civilization. The art of the Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization emerged during the second half of the 3rd millennium BCE. There are numerous and various forms of art has been found from the different sites across India and Pakistan, and the different varieties of art forms have been practiced by the Indus people where include sculptures, seals, pottery, gold jewelry, terracotta, stone figures, etc. And on below there is a picture showing bearded priest. Actually, this is one of the most world famous symbolic representation of art forms from Indus Valley civilization. And below here is numerous seals and ceilings have been there. On the left is the famous Pashupati seals, and on the right there is unicorn seal. These are different forms of art work that has been practiced by the Indus people, and the seals have been used for trade or commercial purposes. Apart from the terracotta sculptures and seals and ceilings. India's people have mesmerized the world with the technology they have discovered. That is the bronze sculptures, the bronze sculpting techniques they evolved during their period has been amazing. Here in this slide, two pictures have been shown. One on the right side is the bronze sculpture of a bull, and on the left side is a famous bronze sculpture of dancing girl. The artwork of the Indus people have continued into the potteries as well. The intrinsic paintings have been shown on the different potteries, jars, daily utensils as well. Other area in which the Indus people had prominent with their art skill is beads and ornaments. Beads are stone made, sometimes it is pottery made, sometimes it is glass made, and ornaments has been made in with these beads, and golden ornaments also excavated from the Indus sites. After the Indus period, there is a hiatus in the history of Indian subcontinent. That period is been called as the Vedic period, in which not much excavated remains have been found. And after that, the Mauryan period, and we shall discuss the art of Mauryan period in this slide. The 6th century BC marks the beginning of new political, religious and social movements in the Gangetic Valley and the establishment of the Mauryan dynasty. They were great patrons of art, as they made various kinds of pillars and sculptures throughout the country. And here on the right side there is a map showing various Mauryan sites span across the India subcontinent. One of the great achievements of the Mauryan artisans were the making of pillars, freestanding pillars, or called stambhas. It is made of Chunar sandstone, greyish Chunar sandstone, very polished, chiseled Chunar sandstone. These idea of pillars have been obtained from the Persian side, and it is called Persepolitan pillars from in that side. These pillars had three main parts, that is a base, there is shaft, and there is a capital. And the capital had three parts also. One is base, another is abacus, and the later part is the animal figure, in which we can see different animals in different pillars across India. Lion is the most famous one, then elephant is been there, bull is been there. It has been said that Ashoka set up at least 30 freestanding pillars across India, or across the dynasty, across the Mauryan dynasty, in which 10 of them had edicts engraved on them. Apart from freestanding pillars, Mauryan artisans have made numerous sculptures, freestanding sculptures as well. Two famous sculptures have been shown here. On the left side it is Eksha from Parkham in Bihar district, and on the right side is famous Ekshini figure of Didarganj. These are also made and polished Chunar sandstone. The post-Mauryan period witnessed the emergence of two different schools of art, the Gandhara and Mathura, and later Amaravati schools also incorporated into that. Two-dimensional art panels telling various stories were found from Barhu Stupa, Sanchi and Amaravati stupas. These panels describe various incidents from the Buddha's life as well as from the Jataka stories. There were several sculptures made out of various sandstones in the Gandhara and Madras schools. Most of the activities, most of the artwork has been obtained in the post-Maurya period, has been on the stupas, the toranas, the gateways of the stupas, where panels have been obtained, in which it describes the various instances of stories from the Buddha's life. These are the examples of Barhut panels on stupa. On the left side it is Ekshini from Barhut, and on the right side it is Kuhn's Maya streams in Barhut. These are also the same panels which tells the stories from the Jataka, that is from Barhut on the left side and stone carving of an elephant in Sanchi on the right side. These panels have been obtained from the outer wall of the Stupa Amravati, where Jataka story has been depicted on the left side, and a stupa drum slab has been obtained in the right side. Apart from the panels on the stupa, the Gandhara school and Mathura schools has produced numerous Buddha sculptures, various dhyana postures of Buddha or Bodhisattva postures have been obtained from various sites across North India. In this slide on the left side, you can see a meditating Buddha on the Gandhara style, and on the right side it is a Bodhisattva, 5th century BC. In this slide you can see the Mathura sculptures. The idea of both the schools have been same, that is the propagation of Buddha and Buddhism related themes, but the artisans were different. One is of the Gandhara, one is on the Mathura. Mathura is on the central part of India, and Gandhara is on the outer skirts of Indian subcontinent, that is in the present Afghanistan. So the mindset and the skill set of the artisans were different, and you can see it is in the sculptures as well. This is the Mathura sculpture, so you can see the Bodhisattva and Buddha. On the right side is a Buddha in Dharmachakra Mudra. That is a famous sculpture that has been in the Swaranath Museum. Here again you can see the Gandhara sculptures. On the left side it is made from green schist stone. On the right side it is marble type stone, and both sculptures have been different from the Mathura sculptures itself. Apart from the sculpture and the pillars and other things, there has been a tradition of mural painting has been parallelly going through the other side of the artwork, and in this slide we can discuss about the mural traditions that has been flourished in the medieval period and the early historic period. Mural paintings. A mural is any piece of artwork painted or applied directly on a wall, ceiling or other permanent surfaces. Ajanta is the only surviving example of painting on the 1st century BC and the 5th century CE. The famous murals have been obtained from the Ajanta caves in the Maharashtra on the Western Ghats. On this panel you can see the painting of Buddha, Yashoda and Rahul on cave number 17, Ajanta. Again some beautiful murals on the Ajanta caves. On the left side is an Apsara, cave number 17, and on the right side is a famous painting of Padmapani Bodhisattva from cave number 1. After Ajanta, very few sites with paintings have survived which provide valuable evidences to reconstruct the traditions of painting. One such site is Badami in the state of Karnataka. Badami was the capital of Western Chalukyan dynasty which ruled the region from 543 to 598 CE. Here we can see a mural painting in the cave Badami where queen and attendants were there. The tradition of painting extended further down south in Tamil Nadu in the preceding centuries, with regional variations during the regimes of Pallava, Pandya and Chola dynasties. The Pallava temples at Panamalai, Madangapattu and Kanchipuram are the examples of surviving murals on the temples. Here we can see on the right side there is a portrait of Devi that is in the 7th century CE at Panamalai. When the Pandyas rose to power, they too patronized this mural art. Tirumalapuram caves and Jaina caves at Sittanavasal are some of the surviving examples. In this panel you can see both the paintings. The tradition of building temples and embellishing them with carvings and paintings continued during the reign of Chola kings who ruled over the region from the 9th to 13th century. Though Chola paintings are seen in Nathamalai, the most important are those in the Brihadishwara temple. The paintings were executed on the walls of the narrow passages surrounding the shrine. Here in this slide you can see two beautiful mural paintings from the Chola period. On the right side is the Chola king Rajaraja and court poet Karuva Deva in Tanjavur, that is in the 11th century. And on the left side is Shiva killing Tripurasara in the same temple, that is Tanjavur Brihadeshwara temple. Sculptural development in the medieval period. The development of sculptural art during the medieval period happened through the development of the temple architecture across India. The imperial Guptas, Pallavas, Chalukyas, Cholas, Pandyas, the Hoysalas, Vijayanagara all contributed to it. So although we can see a lot of artistic work across India, but most of them has been acquainted or get affiliated with religious buildings, especially the temples. Here we can see the Sheshashayana Vishnu in the Dashavatara temple, Diyogarh. It is in the Gupta period. Beautifully carved sculptures have been shown or seen across the temples in India. On the left side it is Udayagiri, cave number 5, Vishnu as a Varaha avatar, and on the right side is a very famous panel of artwork, the descent of Ganga from Mahabalipuram. It is on the Pallava period. Beautiful carvings have been here on the halibut, that is on the Hoysala period in Karnataka. On the left side it is Nataraja, and on the middle there is Nandi in Brihadeshwara temple, Tanjavur, and on the right side is four-armed Vishnu in the Pandya dynasty made from granite. Although metal sculpture was practiced all over the country during the post-Gupta era, the South Indian bronzes, the finest specimens of which were cast during the Chola period. Indian sculptors had mastered the bronze medium and the casting process as much as they had mastered terracotta sculpture and carving in stone. The Sirapedu or the lost wax process for casting was learned as long as ago from the Indus Valley culture. Almost all the dynasties tried the sculptures in bronze, but Cholas were masters in it. Here we can see on the right side there is a very famous bronze sculpture of Nataraja, the Lord of the Dance, a 10th century Chola dynasty bronze sculpture. Now we can go through the architecture in the Indian subcontinent. First, the term itself. Architecture, the term has been derived from architectura from Latin or architecture from Greek. It means that the knowledge of making, building. Another definition for architecture was aesthetic and engineering aspect of building technology, and the most famous one is the art of the settled society. And another one is human creation to a certain aim and purpose. So architecture is collectively known as the matrix of civilization, because architecture is often used for the utilitarian purpose. Indian architecture can be divided into three categories. That is the broad category. One is secular architecture, in which we can see palace architecture, forts, pillars, house and householdings. Second is the religious architecture, in which it is subdivided into Buddhist and temple architecture, where we can see rocket caves, chaityas, viharas and stupas in the Buddhist architecture, and temple architecture we can see rocket caves and temples. And third is the Islamic architecture, of course, where we can see mosques, tombs, forts and palaces. The history and development of architecture has been started from the Indus period onwards. The Indus people use standardized brown mud bricks as building materials. The Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro and the dockyard in Lothal are the fine examples of architectural skills. Here we can see on the right side that the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, and on the left side is the dockyard at Lothal, a site in Gujarat. Harappan people were mastered in architecture. The Harappan city has generally divided into a citadel and a lobertine, and there were lines across divided into 90-degree lines have been divided throughout the city. Here we can see the great Mohenjo-daro mound and the city beneath it. As I mentioned earlier, after the Indus period there is a hiatus in the making, or the hiatus in the Indian culture, where we can't get any material evidence that has been flourished in the Indus period. and after a long gap actually, the Mauryan period, from the Mauryan period starts the architectural evidence. One reason has been said that most of the times at that time in the Vedic period, the perishable materials like wood and bamboos and wattles and weeds have been used for the building material, so it can't withstand with the time, so it is perishable, so it's perished. That is one of the reasons most of the historians or art historians or scholars have been put forward with. And in the Mauryan period, there is not much great evidence of architecture has been prevailed apart from the pillars. There is an evidence of wooden palace from Padaliputra, and that is on the right side you can see, and there is a palisade, the wooden palisade in Rajagriha on the left side actually. And apart from these two evidences, pillars and rocket caves were the great examples of architecture that has been prevailed in the Mauryan period. And these are one of the earliest caves that has been built for the Ajivika sects of Jainism in the Bihar district. It's called Barabara caves. Apart from making rocket caves and palaces and pillars, in Ashokan period, stupas were made extensively across India. The stupa obviously evolved from the simple prehistoric burial heap or tumulus under which the ashes of the dead were buried. And stupas are believed to have the relics of Buddha. That is, at the time of the death of Buddha, his remains were enshrined under such artificial mounds of earth and brick, the famous 8 great stupas mentioned in Buddhist texts. And Ashoka has built numerous stupas across India for the propagation of Buddhism. Sanchi, Amaravati, Bahut, Nagarjunakonda are important stupas across India. Another important feature of Buddhist architecture is the Chaityas and Viharas. Chaitya is the prayer hall or the Buddhist temple, and Viharas is the resting place for Buddhist monks. It is not a freestanding structure, it has been carved or excavated in the side of a hill. Rocket caves actually, we can call it a rocket caves, but it has been carved intrinsically. Chaityas always enshrine a stupa inside where Buddhist monks came and veneration and put their offerings, and viharas are the place in which Buddhist monks takes rest. Ajanta Ellora caves, Nasik, in Karle, Kondain, Pitalkora, Bhaja are the famous examples of Chaityas and Viharas across India. These were located in the Maharashtra district on the side of the Western Ghats. Here coming to the temple architecture. Most of the architectural remains that survive from ancient and medieval India are religious in nature. Two broad categories of temples in the countries are known as Nagara in the North India and Dravida in the South. At times, the Vesara styles of temples is also found as an independent style created through the selective mixings of Nagara and Dravidian orders. Nagara style, as it has been said that Nagara style has been practiced in the northern part of India. The style of the temple architecture that became popular in northern India is known as Nagara. Gupta dynasty started the Nagara style temple architecture, and on the early structure of Nagara style or the North Indian temples has been seen on this slide. It is the early Gupta temple at Sanchi, temple number 17. A drawing of Nagara style temple has been shown in this slide, and on the right side is the Kantirivai temple in Khajuraho. These are the famous examples of North Indian style temples. It has been built in the Chandela period. Chandala temples, Orissa temples, and temples of Western India are the major examples of Nagara style. And apart from the Chandala temples that has been shown in the last slide of Khajuraho temple, Orissan temples are the classic examples of Nagara style. In this picture, the Sun Temple Konark has been shown. It is one of the greatest exemplary example of Nagara style. Dravida style. The Dravidian style practiced in the southern part of the country, mainly in the states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Karnataka has been a bit controversy because Vesara has been included in Karnataka also. In South India, it was started by the Pallava period, then Chola, Pandya and Vijayanagara dynasties were followed throughout their dynastic period. Here you can see the Gopuram of Meenakshi temple and the famous shore temple of Mahabalipuram on the left side. One of the greatest examples of Dravidian style of temple architecture is shown here, the Brihadirishwara temple, Tanjavur, built in 1010 by Rajaraja Chola. The major difference between Nagara and Dravidian style, on the left side is Nagara style, on the right side is the Dravidian style. You can see the different elements have been portrayed here, and there is so much difference has been there in the architectural style. Next is the Vesara style. Vesara style is practiced in the Deccan region, especially in the Karnataka and Andhra region. Chalukyas of Badami, Hoysalas were the main proponents of this style. Here we can see the Durga temple at Aihole, constructed by the Chalukyan dynasty. Another exemplary examples of Vesara style of temple architecture. On the left side is a Hoysaleshwara temple at Halibut, that is in Karnataka, and on the right side is the Virupaksha temple at Pattadakal, that is in the northern part of Karnataka. It was made by Chalukyas. And then came the Indo-Islamic architecture. With the arrival of the Turks during the 13th century came a new technique of architecture, the architectural styles of Persia, Arabia and Central Asia. These architectural entities or categories showcasing multiple styles are known as Indo-Sarsanic or Indo-Islamic architecture. Keeping in mind religious and secular necessities, architectural buildings like mosque for daily prayers, the Jama masjids, tombs, dargahs, minas, hammams, formally laid out gardens, madrasas, sarais or caravanserais, coast minars, etc. were constructed over a long period of time. In spite of the obvious Sarsanic, Persian and Turkish influences, Indo-Islamic structures were heavily influenced by the prevailing sensibilities of Indian architectural and decorative forms. And here are some of the examples of India Islamic architecture. On the left side is intricate jali work in the Amer Fort, Jaipur. On the right side is the famous Qutub Minar in Delhi. Here in this slide you can see the view of Daulatabad Fort in the left in Maharashtra district, and on the right side is the Gwalior Fort in Madhya Pradesh. Examples of tombs. This tomb of Imadullah in Agra, and on the right side, no introduction needed, is the Taj Mahal in Agra. Another examples of Indo-Sarsanic or Indo-Islamic architecture is the left side is the Gol Gumbaz in Bijapur. It's the largest dome in the Asia, and on the right side is the Juma Masjid, Delhi. Thank you.